In many science fiction stories, AI has been depicted as a game changer technology, a technology that could create a dystopian future or a paradisal future. Regardless, in the present, in real life, AI has taken a role into our society. AI has begun to grow in our society in a way that could shape the future. And although some are concerned, others are excited for the possibilities of what artificial intelligence will hold. However, regardless, it has been a cause for many ethical debates. How will this affect our future? And what will it do to the future generations? The following podcast has been created in an attempt to estimate what the possibility of that reality might hold through a fictional story. AI is already advancing at a quick rate, and this podcast has been developed to paint a picture of what artificial intelligence could look like 10 to 15 years from now. Welcome to the Teacher Trials Podcast miniseries. This miniseries will explore a fictional story while incorporating ideas of what future artificial intelligence could look like in schools 10 to 15 years from now. As we all know, artificial intelligence is already making its way into schools. But how will that look like in the future? This podcast is set out to estimate an idea of what that could look like. This podcast was written and narrated by Matt Spear and published with the help of Junior Art Lab. Episode 1, First Day. As the morning sun began to send a sliver of light through the curtains of a condo, rumpled clothes lay scattered on the floor. Clothes lay as a bristle of warm March air enters through the window. The room is quiet, save for the small traces of car engines in the distance and honking horns of the big city that is shielded by the curtains. To the left of the room lies a small bed, and in that bed Eli lies still, sound and sleeping. He clutches at the bed covers as the cool, warm contrast of the breeze shuffles into the room, as he continues to lay there, restful. On the small bedside table next to him, a large alarm clock sits, still and quiet, displaying the time, 7:29 a.m. In an instant, the time changes to 7:30 a.m., and the once quiet room is filled with a large beep of the alarm. Eli glances over at the alarm, groaning before mumbling, "Snooze." The alarm stops at once, ending, as the still quietness returns, leaving Eli to drift back to sleep. Out of a dimly lit living room, the lights snap on in attention as Eli runs down the corridor, buttoning his shirt on. "Coffee! By the door!" he yells before slipping his jacket on. In a moment, the coffee maker whizzes into action on the kitchen table, which is big and bulky, full of wires snaking out to the other parts of the house. As Eli stumbles towards the door, a mechanical hand passes him a coffee. Eli takes the coffee before ordering, "Lights off," as the lights comply before rushing out the door. Eli's car speeds down the road. He's going to be so late. He's going to be so late. As he continues to drive, Eli can clearly see a back road, full of construction as it performs the tasks demolishing the road, using the construction equipment that AI is attached to, allowing the big machines to work without having to have a construction worker operate them. A revolutionary technology that has saved construction companies a lot of money, and once would-be employers can now be entirely done with computers. Eli knows it is a bad idea to risk going down that road. The road is narrow, and it's a one-way, going the opposite direction. However, time is short, and he cannot go down the entire block. Eli speeds down the road, charging at full speed, narrowly dodging the construction equipment, and almost flattening some of the workers that are already there. However, as he does, another car drives down the road as well, coming the opposite direction. Eli is speeding so fast that the car was not expecting Eli to come charging down the road. There's going to be an accident. Fear begins to grip at Eli. This was a mistake. In an instant, the artificial intelligence in the car panel displays the message as well as it explains in a calm voice. "Potential accident detected. Taking control of car." In an instant, the car wheel locks, steering Eli out of to safety, as well as the other driver, before handing control back to Eli. A police siren rails from behind him. The automatic brakes stop the car in its tracks upon detecting the siren, a new feature that has reduced crime at a skyrocketing level since criminals can no longer drive away from the police. Eli groans. There is no time for this. The officer taps his window. Eli rolls it down reluctantly. Sir, you were going 3 times the speed limit, and this is a one-way. I'm going to have to write you up a ticket for this. I am so sorry, officer, but it's my mother. She had a fall, and I need to be there for her. The officer stares down at him, pity flowing over him. That's all right. Just don't let it happen again, the officer tells him before walking back to his car. Eli rolls up his window. He breathes a sigh of relief, wiping the sweat from his forehead. That was too close. As the distant sound of a car engine roars in the distance, several students in a small cluster outside a large school building. As they make their way into the building, they pass their principal holding the door open, while ringing a manual bell in his hand, the kind of bell that has been used since the early 2000s. Eventually, all the other students enter the building, and the principal stares out into the distance. As quiet as it is, with nothing more than street traffic and the echo of the bell, one of the students begins running into the school. Sorry, I rang the bell 2 minutes ago and you were not here. You are going to have to get a late email, the principal informs her. But my neighbor, that is not an excuse. You need to be more punctual, he tells her, as she slowly walks in, a frown forming on her face. The principal continues to stand by the door and glances at his watch. Eli should be here by now. The principal sighs in displeasure as he watches Eli's car speed up, and Eli scrambles towards the principal, 30 minutes late. You're late. I told you should be here at 8:30 a.m. It is 9 o'clock a.m. It is school policy under the school teacher handbook that all teachers must report to school at least half an hour before classes start for the day. Eli shuffles past him. Sorry, I was caught up. The principal glares at him as they make their way down the hall. You were tardy then, and you were tardy now. He looks at Eli's clothes with disapproval. As it is your first day back, I will tolerate your clothing choice, despite it being against the school teacher dress code, section 16, paragraph 3, line 18. However, after tomorrow, I will not tolerate that any further. Eli looks down at his clothes. How could the day barely just begin and he's already in trouble, when he's not even a student? As they continue to make their way down the dark corridors of the school building, Eli takes in the classrooms. Inside, the students are sitting in front of small computers. Excitement begins to form inside of Eli. From what it looks like, every student gets to have their own computer. With so much more advances in the technology from when he attended, the computers are the newest generation, with steel gray casing and several unique features inside of them. This is so amazing. I'm sure this generation will make such good use of this. Don't get so attached. I only invested in this technology as a result of the fact that we need it under Section 32 of the Student Teacher Handbook Evaluation Index, the principal informs. And despite this, Eli still has so much excitement bursting in his chest. This tech will make learning so much easier for the students. As they continue walking, Eli glances down into some of the classrooms. In the first classroom, desks are arranged all over the room, as students run around screaming with joy and playing games on their computers. At the desk in the corner of the room, a teacher is sitting in her chair, texting on her phone, no different from what Eli remembers in school. As they continue walking, Eli looks into another classroom to find a very different setup. The desks are arranged in order, while a teacher, who looks to be about Eli's age from what he could see, stood at the front, waving desperately to the class. Listen! Hey, listen to me, he could hear her say, as the students were all facing down on their computers, probably, hopefully, most likely not typing notes from what Eli could view. Down the corridor, out of Eli and the principal's view, at the back of the hallway lies another classroom, and in that classroom, kids run rampant among it. Some of them are running around, throwing papers at each other, while others play games on their computers. One student is on the phone, prank calling a pizza shop, while the chaos continues to consume the room. The occasional students sit rammered straight at their desk, with their computer open to Google Drive, ready and eager to take notes. However, they are nearly swallowed up by the great sea of chaos as the kids running among. One of the students glances down the hallway, spotting Eli and the principal walking down. A snicker comes out of him. "That's our new teacher? He looks more like a cucumber," he snickers. The student behind him replies, "Mr. Cumber." They both snicker at this. However, the principal's sharp tone commands them to attention. "Sit down!" he beams from the hallway. The kids proceed back to the desk before urgently ushering, "The principal is coming!" In that instance, all the kids, rampaging through the class, sit attentively at their desks, with their computers open, ready and knowing the principal despises tardiness. The principal stops the classroom right next to the door and waves Eli in. Eli stands surprised to face the entire class sitting in the classroom, all facing their computer, texting or playing games. There were 30 students total in the class, with small desks arranged in rows, 2 by 2, facing a PowerPoint board, the door behind them. A small window let in a ray of sunlight as Eli took everything in, placing his bag down on the small teacher desk by a computer. The principal clapped everyone's attention, though no one bothered to look up. "Class, as you know, your last teacher had a baby, and the teacher handbook chapter 15 states that she must go on maternity leave for the next 12 months. Therefore, for the rest of the year, I would like to introduce you to your new teacher, Mr. LeBlanc." Eli waves to the class, excitement beginning to pour over him. This is it. After everything, he is now an official teacher, ready to teach his new class. "I expect you all be on your best behavior for Mr. LeBlanc. Please, they can just call me Eli. No, as the student teacher handbook states, chapter 1, paragraph 4, line 3, all students shall refer to their teachers as Mr. or Mrs. I will leave you now to all get adjusted to Mr. LeBlanc," the principal declares before walking off, Eli with his new students. Eli stares down at his students, who have not even looked up once from their computers. He sets down his computer before clapping his class for attention. "Okay, everyone, may I please have your attention? I thought we could begin today with a few icebreaker games," Eli says. However, they do not look up. They just remain fixated on their screens, almost as if they're hypnotized by them, with the exception of one student who is staring at him intently. "Hey, attention! Everyone look at me!" The students look up while still moving their hands over the computer keyboards. This frustrates Eli. He can feel a sense build on his chest. He takes a deep breath, calming himself. Losing control of his temper will not do anyone any good. So today, we're just going to try and get to know each other a little bit. Why don't we go around the classroom and share one thing about ourselves? Eli points to one student who's looking at him intently. "Why don't you start?" The student smiles brightly, giving Eli a sense of pleasure. "My name is Bob, and I love to learn," he declares. Eli smiles. At least someone is paying attention. He points to another student who's not looking at him at all. They do not look up. He taps on their desk. "Your turn." They look up to him with a sense of urgency in their eyes. He needs to figure out what he said fast. Quickly, he types onto the computer, asking the AI what had just been said, before slouching over to meet his new teacher. His name is Adam, and he really likes cucumbers. The computer speaks for him. Other kids laugh in the distance. Eli sighs. Now he knows what it feels like when students do those jokes on a teacher. "That's very good. What about you?" He points to the only person in the room who is not using a computer and is instead writing notes pen and paper, old style. "My name is Carol, and Bob shoots up his hand. "Yes, Bob. Emily's playing games on her computer." Eli sighs, frustrated. "Which one of you is Emily?" However, no one raises their hand. Bob shoots his hand up. "She's the one in the back." "Thank you, Bob." "Stop playing games. Now, what were you saying, Carol?" "My name is Carol, and I am older than the dinosaurs because I use paper," Adam snickers. In that instant, the AI on his computer speaks up. "Adam, that is not nice." Adam stops laughing abruptly. That was not meant to happen. Bob raises his hand once more. "Yes, Bob, what is it?" "Carol is also playing games on her computer." "Carol, get off, and why don't you tell us about yourself?" As the class continues, the principal stands in the doorway, writing down what he witnesses in the classroom. Students are playing games, and Mr. LeBlanc is clearly not able to handle himself. And they're not even at the first lesson yet. The principal shakes his head slowly. What's he gonna do with this guy? Bob's hand raises once more. Eli sighs. Yes, Bob. Ethan is also playing games on his computer. Okay, before continuing the introduction, as the principal continues to take notes, he disapproves every decision that is being made. As the bell rings, signaling the end of the day, all students rush out of the class with hurry. They all ram down the hall, as if there is some danger in the classroom. Within an instant, every student is clear of the classroom, except for Bob, who slowly lingers, packing up his things in an almost disappointed way that the school day is over. Eli, on the other hand, is very relieved. After everything that happened, this day could not have gone worse. He could not have even gotten the class to pay attention to icebreaker games. So how could he be expected to handle actual teaching the next day? These thoughts ponder in Eli's mind as he stands in the hallway. He sighs deeply. Are you all right? He turns to find the other teacher his age standing next to him. Yeah, just stressed. I get it. First days can be tough. A sense of calm comes over Eli. Does it get easier? Only gets harder, though the principal stops paying as close attention after the first week. I'm only on my third week here, though, so there's still time for things to go wrong. I'm Kate. She extends her hand to him. Eli. At that moment, the PA system goes off, demolishing the calm feeling inside of Eli. Would Mr. LeBlanc come to my office right away? I repeat, would Mr. LeBlanc come to my office, please? Thank you. Eli groans. Good luck, Kate tells him, before walking back to her classroom. Eli walks down the hallway, a sense of dread forming over him, for good reason. The real question is, what is in store for him this time? As Eli opens the door to the office, he braces himself for the worst. If only he knew what it is that he has to face. With a deep breath, he opens the door and readies himself to face the principal. How will things play out with the principal? And what will happen with Eli's students? And will things eventually get better for Eli? Come back next time in the Teacher Trials to find out. Thank you for listening.